Sam Bankman-Fried did not look like a typical financial titan. There were no tailored suits, no polished speeches, no dramatic origin story about growing up dreaming of Wall Street. Instead, there was a young man with messy hair, a plain t-shirt, and an unusual confidence that he had figured out something the rest of the financial world had missed. For a brief moment in modern history, Sam Bankman-Fried was seen as one of the most influential figures in cryptocurrency. He was described as a visionary, a philanthropist, and a problem solver in an industry known for chaos. Then, just as quickly, everything collapsed. This is the story of how one of the fastest rises in financial history turned into one of the most dramatic downfalls, and why it became a cautionary tale far beyond crypto. Sam Bankman-Fried was born into an academic family. Both of his parents were law professors, deeply familiar with rules, institutions, and systems designed to create order. From an early age, Sam showed strong analytical ability and an intense focus on logic and math. He was not known for being flashy or socially dominant. He was known for being extremely smart. He attended MIT, where he studied physics and mathematics. Those who knew him during this period often described him as intensely focused, sometimes socially awkward, but highly driven. He was less interested in traditional success symbols and more interested in problem-solving, efficiency, and ideas. One idea that would later define his public image was effective altruism, a philosophy that promotes earning as much money as possible in order to give it away to causes that can do the most good. Sam openly discussed wanting to make a fortune, not for luxury, but to donate it. This framing would later play a significant role in how he was perceived. After graduating, Sam worked briefly at a quantitative trading firm. There, he learned how to exploit small price differences across markets. It was highly technical work, involving algorithms, speed, and massive volumes of data. This experience would soon become critical. In the late 2010s, cryptocurrency markets were fragmented. Prices for the same asset could differ significantly between countries and platforms. Sam noticed that Bitcoin, for example, could trade at a higher price in one market and a lower price in another. To him, this looked like an opportunity. He founded a trading firm that focused on exploiting these price differences. The operation was highly profitable. Money moved quickly. Profits grew rapidly. What started as a niche strategy turned into something much larger. But Sam was not satisfied with just trading. He believed the crypto industry itself was inefficient. Exchanges were unreliable, poorly designed, and often collapsed under heavy usage. Sam thought he could build something better. That idea became FTX. FTX was marketed as a professional-grade cryptocurrency exchange. It was designed for traders with advanced tools, complex derivatives, and fast execution. Unlike many competitors, FTX presented itself as serious, regulated, and responsible. Sam became the face of the company. He did interviews, spoke at conferences, and positioned himself as someone who wanted to clean up crypto rather than exploit it. He openly criticized irresponsible behavior in the industry while quietly building enormous influence within it. FTX grew at a staggering pace. Venture capital poured in. High-profile investors backed the company. Celebrity endorsements followed. Sports stadium naming rights were secured. Super Bowl advertisements ran. To the public, FTX looked legitimate, powerful, and unstoppable. Sam himself became a billionaire on paper. His net worth was estimated in the tens of billions. Media profiles described him as a modern financial prodigy. He was compared to legendary investors and tech founders. His casual appearance was reframed as authenticity rather than unprofessionalism. Behind the scenes, however, the structure was far more fragile than it appeared. FTX was closely linked to Sam's earlier trading firm. The two entities shared resources, leadership, and, critically, trust. In traditional finance, this kind of relationship would require strict separation and oversight. In crypto, the lines were blurred. As the crypto market boomed, these risks remained hidden. Asset prices rose, liquidity was abundant, confidence was high. Problems, if they existed, were masked by growth. Then the market turned. In 2022, cryptocurrency prices began to fall sharply. Companies that relied on constant growth and easy access to capital started to struggle. Failures cascaded through the industry, confidence evaporated. Suddenly, questions emerged about FTX's financial health. Reports suggested that customer funds may not have been fully segregated. Observers noticed that a large portion of the associated trading firm's balance sheet appeared to rely on assets issued by FTX itself. This raised serious concerns. In finance, trust is everything. Once trust breaks, speed becomes the enemy. Withdrawals increase, liquidity disappears. What looked stable yesterday can collapse today. That is exactly what happened. As customers rushed to withdraw funds, FTX could not meet the demand. The exchange halted withdrawals. Panic spread across the crypto world. Within days, FTX filed for bankruptcy. Billions of dollars were suddenly unaccounted for. Sam Bankman-Fried went from industry leader to central figure in one of the largest financial collapses in recent memory. Interviews he once gave confidently now resurfaced with new scrutiny. Statements that had sounded visionary now sounded reckless. Investigations began almost immediately. Regulators, prosecutors, and journalists all began asking the same questions. How were customer funds handled? Who knew what and when? How could such a large company fail so quickly? The narrative around Sam changed dramatically. The image of the harmless genius was replaced with one of negligence, mismanagement, and deception. Public trust collapsed alongside the company. Sam maintained that he never intended to commit wrongdoing. He claimed mistakes were made, risk controls failed, and that he lost track of key details as the company grew too fast. Critics argued that such explanations were insufficient given the scale of the collapse. Legal proceedings followed. In court, prosecutors presented a different story. They described deliberate actions, hidden transfers, and misuse of customer assets. They argued that the collapse was not simply a failure, but the result of decisions made knowingly. The trial became one of the most closely watched financial cases of the decade. It was not just about crypto. It was about accountability in a new financial system that had grown faster than its safeguards. Witnesses testified about internal processes, communication failures, and risk-taking that went unchecked. The courtroom replaced the trading floor. Emails and spreadsheets replaced market charts. For many observers, the case symbolized the end of crypto's early innocence. It forced regulators, investors, and users to confront uncomfortable truths about trust, oversight, and responsibility. Sam Bankman-Fried was ultimately convicted on multiple counts related to fraud and conspiracy. The verdict marked a definitive turning point. A figure once praised as a reformer was now legally defined by the collapse of his own creation. Yet the story does not end with a verdict. The fallout from FTX reshaped the industry. Exchanges tightened controls, regulators accelerated enforcement, investors became more cautious. The idea that technology alone could replace trust was seriously challenged. For the public, the story raised deeper questions. How easily can confidence be manufactured? How much should we trust charisma and narratives? And how do new industries avoid repeating old mistakes? Sam Bankman-Fried's rise and fall became a lesson in speed. Things moved too fast. Money moved faster than oversight. Influence grew faster than responsibility. His story is not unique because of crypto. Similar patterns have appeared throughout financial history. What made this case different was how visible it was, how quickly it unfolded, and how deeply it affected millions of people. Some lost savings, some lost faith, an entire industry lost credibility overnight. In the end, this story is less about one person and more about a system that rewarded growth over caution, a system that trusted innovation without demanding accountability, a system that learned once again that complexity does not remove the need for basic rules. Sam Bankman-Fried once believed he could reshape finance for the better. Whether that belief was sincere or self-serving is still debated. What is clear is that intentions alone are not enough. Power without restraint creates risk, speed without structure creates collapse, and trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to rebuild. This is why the story continues to matter, not because of headlines or hype, but because it reminds us that behind every platform, every promise and every fortune, there must be transparency. Without it, even the most impressive rise can end in silence.